What is up, guys? Today we got a new kind of video. It isn't going to be like my usual vlog. This morning we're going to be going over how I like to do my meal prep. I do it every Sunday or Saturday morning, and you know, I might as well record it because I think it's a very important aspect in your fitness journey. And even if you aren't super into the gym, meal prepping is going to help you out a lot, especially if you're trying to save time and money. What a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of the time it takes to make your food at home comes from bringing everything out of the fridge, cutting it up, right, on the cutting board, pulling out the knife, you know, washing it and cleaning up your area and then putting everything back. That's like half of it. That's more than half of it. And if you do it all in one go and then you have your food in the fridge, you can just pull it out of the fridge, microwave it, and then you're good to go. So yeah, I'm gonna go over the tips and tricks I use when I meal prep and also what foods exactly I meal prep. As a natural pro bodybuilder and a fitness model, I think my 2 cents is valid. I think this video is going to be very helpful for you guys. I wish I had some background knowledge before I got into, you know, prepping my food every week, because I've definitely made my mistakes when it comes to this stuff. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So what we're going to start out with is our sweet potatoes. You guys should definitely have this in your dietary regimen. Very filling, very nutritious, very vitamin rich, and also they just taste good. So the 2 ways I like to prep my sweet potatoes is to bake them in the oven and to air fry them. The sweet potatoes usually take the longest to prep. You're gonna have to have them in the oven for like an hour. So that's why they're the first step in my meal prep process. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna set your oven to 425 degrees. Now while that's heating up, what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab a fork and you're just gonna Julius Caesar this sweet potato. And what's nice about the baked sweet potatoes is you can do this with like 3 or 4 or 5 at a time. Also, I would go ahead and weigh these sweet potatoes right now. You want to weigh them before you bake it. That's gonna get more accurate results. And I would write these numbers down so you remember them for later. And now after you jammed a fork in it a few times, you're gonna wrap it in a sheet of tin foil. It should look something like this. All right, the oven is preheated, so I'm gonna grab these guys and put them in here. These will sit in here for like an hour. And what I like a lot about baking the sweet potatoes is you could probably fit like 5 or 6 of these in there, more if you want. You could probably make like 10 at a time. Right now I'm just doing 3, but it's up to you. Anyway, you're gonna set the time for 1 hour and let the oven do the rest. All right, now I've also just cubed up a bunch of sweet potatoes right here. These are about to go in the air fryer, but remember, it's important to weigh it out before you cook it, so then you can accurately track the macros. If you are tracking your macros, if not, just throw that bitch in the air fryer, but have this number written down somewhere because you're gonna forget. All right, next up, we're gonna make some hard-boiled eggs. Now, eggs are already pretty quick to prep, but hard-boiled eggs are even faster. Very easy to make in bulk. Now, I have an egg cooker, which is pretty cool. But even if you don't, all you gotta do is boil some water, have these sit in there for I think like 6 to 8 minutes, and you're gonna get the same result. But I like the egg cooker a lot. This is what it looks like, by the way. I got this at Target for like 20 bucks. Definitely worth it. But again, I shouldn't have to explain why you need eggs. It contains very healthy fats, monounsaturated. That's what you want. You know, it isn't the highest in protein. You're gonna find shit with more protein than an egg, but the protein in an egg is very bioavailable, so your body is gonna use that protein more effectively. Anyway, I'm gonna throw these in the egg cooker. I usually make like 12 to 14 hard-boiled eggs for the week. And again, very quick. If you're on the run, boom, crack it, peel the shell, and you're good. No stove, no spatula, nothing, you know, nothing. So I would definitely tap into the hard-boiled eggs. And around halfway through, you're gonna wanna go ahead and give this a little shuffle. Pop that right back in. And now this right here is the egg cooker I have. I'm gonna start this up right now, actually. It works faster than boiling the water on the pan, and I think it's just more organized. But anyway, I'm gonna do 2 sets of these and call it a day for my hard-boiled eggs. All right, our sweet potatoes just got done with the air fryer. So now we're gonna weigh exactly how much it is after. because the weight of the sweet potatoes will change before and after you cook it, but you want to weigh it before you cook it to track the macros properly, and you want to weigh it after so you can evenly divide it in your meal prep containers. Okay, so before cooking, it was 770 grams. Right now, it's around 580. But according to ChatGPT, 770 grams of raw sweet potato comes out to about 650 calories and 150 grams of carbs. I think like 12 grams of protein. Anyway, we're gonna divide this 582 by 4, so we have an even amount of sweet potato in each of our 4 meal prep containers. The weight is starting to decrease a little bit, but that's just because of the steam coming off, right? We're gonna call it 580. 580 divided by 4 is 145. So we're gonna do 580 minus 145, which would be 435. So we're gonna get these, put them in here until this says 435. Small piece there. Good enough. So this will be one of our servings. Then again, we're gonna subtract this by 145. And then now we have an evenly distributed amount of sweet potatoes in each of these containers. While I was tracking those sweet potatoes, I brought a pot of water to a boil because we're gonna be making some protein pasta. I think this edamame pasta is great, very high in protein, relatively low in carbs for what pasta is. So we're gonna throw 2 boxes of this in there, and we're gonna be set for the week. And another thing is, if you guys don't eat protein pasta, you definitely should. It tastes just like regular pasta, if not better, to be honest. The macros are just way better. You don't have to get exactly this one here. There's also like chickpea pasta. I like the edamame ones though. And I think the black bean spaghetti looks pretty cool in your dishes. So anyway, I'm gonna throw this in here. We're gonna let this cool off for a little bit and then we're gonna weigh it out. All right, now that the pasta's done, we're gonna get to work on our meal prep bowl. So this week I'm gonna be making ground chicken with peas. So I'm gonna cook 2 pounds of this Perdue ground chicken. Again, we're gonna divvy that up into our meal prep containers and we'll go from there. And I've said this before and I'll say it again, but get the ground chicken, especially if you're doing meal prep. If you get the chicken thigh or the breast, you have to chop it up with a cutting board and again, weigh it out. The ground chicken, straight from here, open it up, put it on the pan. Also no need for a scale because the macros are right here too. So you know the exact micronutrient content when you use this. I'm using this chicken seasoning that my mom brought back from the motherland. While the chicken's cooking over here, I weighed out 40 grams of strawberries, raspberries, and blueberries. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit of sugar-free maple syrup. Then I'm gonna put this in the freezer and it's gonna make for a great low-calorie sweet treat. All right, I just pulled these bad boys out of the oven. I'm gonna let these sit for a little bit. Obviously, they're gonna be hot. But then I'm gonna label the weight on each of these so I'll be able to track the macros for it later. All right, the chicken's almost ready. I'm gonna divide that up into these 4 containers along with these 2 cans of sweet peas. All right, I just got done evenly weighing out the ground chicken and peas. And what you'll notice is I don't put any sauces on here. I don't add too much here. There's a reason for that. It's because I want to be versatile. I want to be agile, you know? Let's say one day I want to add barbecue sauce. I can add that on top. Or another day I want to add like some cottage cheese. I can do that. But maybe for a certain day I can't afford those calories. I still want to eat. That's why I have this. I want to be nutritiously agile. So keep your meal prep basic. And as a little bonus, I'm going to show you guys how to make a Greek yogurt cookie. I like to make these a lot. Super easy to prep and super simple. So first thing you're going to do is you're gonna get some Greek yogurt and throw it into a bowl. And then you're gonna add your protein powder. I think the clear way goes super well. I like to use Legion as well. Legion is a great brand, all natural ingredients always. And the macros on this are kind of insane. Like if you look at this, 100 calories, 22 grams of protein, and 0 grams of fat, only 2 carbs. So pretty much straight protein here. Anyway, I'm gonna add 2 scoops of this into my Greek yogurt bowl. Then I'm gonna add a splash of water and give this a little mix. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna wrap a cutting board with tin foil and pour that Greek yogurt mixture onto that. Make sure it's evenly distributed too. And now it's time to add your toppings. So I got 100 grams of fresh blueberries and some protein granola. Go ahead and sprinkle that on there as you please. And then you're gonna set this whole thing in the freezer. I'd give it at least 20 minutes, but then pull it out, chop it up into however many servings you like, and you got a great protein cookie dessert. And with that, our meal prep is complete. Only really took me an hour and a half, maybe a little more, which may sound like a lot, but I want you to look at the haul we got. We got protein pasta, probably like 5 servings of that. We got 4 servings of our ground chicken and pea combo. We got 14 hard-boiled eggs, 3 big sweet potatoes, 4 servings of air-fried sweet potatoes. We got our little berry sugar-free honey dessert, and that Greek yogurt cookie. All this food probably saved me so much time and money. I mean, if you consider the amount of time you'd be waiting in line in Chipotle, the gas you'd be spending to get there, as well as the money you'd be paying for the food, even if you aren't even in the gym like that, you know, it just saves you so much time and money to meal prep. It's a great habit to get into. So again, I hope you learned something from this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them. I'll be answering every single one. And like always, I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.